Should get started. Let's go ahead and it's a little after 11. Let's let Laura do her disclaimer and then we'll go ahead and continue our talk if that's all right. There you go.
Good morning and welcome everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have and need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorneys, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you. All right.
Hey, thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to mention that St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association is a not-for-profit. We're run by our members for the benefit of our members, for having networking opportunities and educational programs. And see, we got board members on here. John is our program director. We got Jim Choik here's our treasurer. I heard Amber, she's our vice president. I'm the current president. Any other board members? I don't see on my first screen here. But anyway, yeah, we're all here just to help each other out and make everybody aware that we're not here to sell anything or have any services as an organization. But if you got some services you want to offer to investors, you're welcome to do it here. Or if you got a deal you want to bring, if you're a wholesaler and you had a deal you're looking for a investor. Yeah, you got some investors here today. I want to first of all thank John Lee for a great meeting we had on Tuesday. Get the year off to a good start with goal setting and strategies, and it was a good meeting. Had a lot of good discussions too with Carrie Curley from New Frontier Bank. So yeah, she added a lot to the discussion. So okay, what's anybody else got anything get us started here today? And I see Demetrius was going to his tiny house. Looks like he's walking around it now. Maybe
yeah, I'm here now. So
want to give us a quick tour?
Yeah, sure. So this is the front. Let me see if I can landscape it, if it'll do any better for you all. But yeah, so here's the front of it. It's just small. It's about 22 by 14, so 22 foot long, 14 foot wide. We got it on just a regular gable here. So this side here, you can see we still got siding left to put on it, and then we got to do the back as well. Let's see. Walk around on the inside a little bit, see if it's got enough light in here. We don't have any light set up in here yet, but so what we got over on the other side of that wall, it'll be a bedroom set up over there. And then, I mean, it's real small. So it's to me, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just walk through the doorway there. But now I'm in the bedroom now. So on that side, it'll be a small kitchenette type setup, and we'll be doing all that stuff at a later date for them. When they're ready to make that investment. But be a small kitchenette / living room on the other side. So we got yet, like I said, we got yet to insulate it and drywall it. So we got it all trussed out now, all wide open on the inside. So
You said no plumbing in there. Is that what you said, Demetrius?
Yep, no plumbing yet. They may want to do it at a later time, which I mean, I talked to them about the difference in that and having to go through everything that's going to be finished. But, you know, they say that's the route they want to go. But okay. No plumbing in here as of yet.
Okay. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the tour. You know, Amber has been talking about doing a tiny house too. So maybe you two can share some tips.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Hey,
And I put my name and number in the chat. I know,
Okay.
I don't know who that was that asked for it.
yeah, it was Amber that it was asking about that. She's talked about, she wants to do a tiny house in the city, St. Louis.
Okay.
So yeah, put your contact information there. And anybody else that wants to talk tiny houses or have an interest in it, and you can contact you. Okay. Thanks for getting us started there.
Indeed.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for us today? See, we might got Mark Koritz on today. He usually, when he's at a meeting, he's usually got something to offer for us. You got anything, Mark? You got yourself muted. You can unmute yourself. You got something to add?
There we go.
There you go. We can hear you now. Hi.
I just sold one that I bought about 13 years ago over on Romaine and Overland, 3-1. And I bought a 2-1 over in St. Anne's. I've never bought over there before, but I bought a real cute little house there. And I just put it on the market today or yesterday.
Mhm.
Not getting many replies. I mean, it's not a great time of the year to rent.
Oh, okay. You got it up for rent. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did a 1031 exchange on it. I sold a 4-family and I put some money in that building and then another building I bought in the city on a 1031.
Yeah, that's good. I've done several of those. But yeah, St. Anne's good area still. I started out, my first rentals were in St. Anne. I had 2 duplexes there many years ago.
See if I turn off this light, that's better. That's
No,
probably-
dry.
yeah. But
Still a good area. Yeah, still a good area. I drive by there occasionally when I'm near the airport, and
yeah.
it's
I'm,
good. Still a good area.
I'm still looking to buy if anybody's got any good deals.
Okay.
Cash.
Where are you looking at, Mark, and what are you looking for?
Well, I don't buy much further than the Rock Road, much further north than the Rock Road. I just bought a 3-1 or 3-2 out in Wildwood to rehab. Close on the 6th of February to rehab. And that'll be a flip. It just depends what the deal is, and I also fund flippers on deals occasionally. So that's what I do. But for a retired guy, I'm having fun.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Could I possibly get Mark's phone number? I'm on my phone and I cannot figure out how to do the chat.
314-267-6944. 314-267-6944.
Okay. Anybody else has something for Mark, they can contact him there.
Yeah, like Melissa was saying, I guess when I clicked on the chat, each time it like took me out and I had to refresh the screen and come up back in, so I couldn't get into the chat at all, like 3 or 4 times just now. So I don't know if she's having the same problem, whatever that is.
Okay, I just clicked on it here. Got in it. Okay, yeah, Demetrius left his number. Oh, I sent Jim tried to log off. And oh yeah, and I mentioned, yeah, I might have to go. I've got a flooring contractor. I said earlier while you were off, John, that got a flooring contractor coming over. He's going to give me a text when he gets when he's on his way. So he didn't kill any time. So if I get a quick text, he says he's 5 minutes out, I might need to drop off here. But what everybody else doing?
This is just kind of an FYI, but I shared that I had a house for sale over on Tavalon in Rock Hill. It was not an investment opportunity for anybody for this group because it had already been all
Yeah, I recall that one.
rehabbed and everything. Just For Market Pulse, I put it up for sale by owner in November after didn't work out with the realtor that I had. Got some looks, a lot of looks, walkaways, and then literally in the last week, the floodgates just opened, and people started calling me left and right, wanting to look at it. And I got a contract on it last night for close to asking, and people were knocking down my door. So something jarred loose here in the real estate market, at least in that area. Just thought I'd share that.
What
Yeah.
price house was it?
I'm sorry.
What did you have that listed at? How much?
279, and I got 270 for it. They offered 255, but then came up to my price of negotiation of 270 with, I threw in a home warranty and fixing a couple of things. But I mean, it's for a 60-year-old house. It's in pretty much top-notch shape. But just all of a sudden, people, I mean, they weren't just wanting to look. I think they were ready to buy. The people there's some people that I had to say, look, sorry, you can't look at it today. 3 or 4 or 5 people I had to turn. I mean, I was getting 3 or 4 calls a day. So anyhow, all of a sudden it just turned, it's kind of how markets happen. Sometimes I know they come in just chunks like that, but I was surprised at just how much interest I got, because I was just getting ready to list it with another realtor friend of mine. And this happened. So hopefully it doesn't fall through, but it's been through 2 inspections already. And
is it possible that is it possible that maybe the reason for the pickup was one of the websites that it went on?
Well, it had been on Zillow for quite some time, and that's where everybody was seeing it. And I'm always very friendly to buyer's agents. Buyer's agents welcome, and I'm certainly happy to pay their fee if the net is right. And I've done that 3 times now, and it's worked out really well versus having listing with an agent and going through, which has been okay at times. But each time there was a serious buyer. Of course, you get all these, I'll use a politically correct term, these silly calls from these guys that want to, are investors and not like us. I'm talking about these guys that come up with these cockamamie ideas about wanting to buy it and rent it for 2 years and all that bullshit. And I got a lot of those calls for a while, and then all of a sudden I started getting calls from serious buyers that their clients were seeing it on Zillow and calling their buyer's agents. All these that have happened this week were those scenarios where they're saying, hey, I want to go look at this house. So something in the environment seemed to change a little bit. Maybe it's just getting past the holidays and stuff. But
yeah, I was just going to say,
changed dramatically. I
think it might be the holidays. I found out. I thought, in fact, what Mark was saying, the rental market is at the time good time right now. But I was afraid of that. I had just finished up I was in a couple years ago, a renovation of a house that I had picked up to add to my rental portfolio. And it was easy to find contractors that wanted to work between the Thanksgiving and Christmas, because most people didn't want contractors around during the holidays. But that was great for me. The house was empty, and I finished it up. It was ready right after the holidays. And first, I advertised it. I had a little open house. I figured try to attract as much attention as I can. So I had an open house the first weekend after the New Year. And I was inundated. That was the biggest open house. I think I had 9 different families come through on the day, and it was sleeting outside on a Sunday. So and I think I had 3 applications, and one of them went through, and found a good tenant for that one just in the first weekend with one open house.
I'm always amazed that even though the holidays, everyone's busy, but that people don't think, hey, everybody's busy. Now's probably a good time to buy a house. That's a life event. And that people just don't say, I'm going to go out shopping now. You know, it's like a Black Friday for this stuff. And
Yeah.
they don't, I guess. And I mean, so anyhow, the other thing I was going to just throw out there is I'm still looking for whether it's a house that can be rented with a nice sized garage or building that I could use for myself and rent the house, or just a building for storage. Working on, I kind of like to tinker around with cars, even if it's just a 2-car garage would work. I'd mentioned this before, and so if anybody hears of anything, I did check out the one that someone had mentioned down on up in Pattonville, and that was an experience. Who I forget who it was that mentioned that on the call. Those people are fanatically, they don't want anybody in their neighborhood. I mean, I practically got driven out of the neighborhood. They're I don't get it, but I was like, okay, I'll leave.
Was that the one that had back taxes and it was grown up or something like that?
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about, Joe? Okay.
I
Yeah.
called on it and I was met. I went to go, I didn't think anybody lived in it. So I got out of my car and I was met by somebody across the street and tell me everything's wrong with the house and I shouldn't be around there, and see all these no trespassing signs and you might get shot. And then he told me he saw a car. He knew I was coming because he saw a car that was registered as a red Tahoe, and he knew nobody had a red Tahoe coming down the street. I don't know what program that is. Sounds like quite a good security program. And I went down to the end of the street after talking to him for a while. It was a halfway cordial conversation after that, even though he was just very odd. It was the one that whoever mentioned this said sort of drove her off. I get down to the end of the street just to turn around. A man and woman come out of their house, staring me down. I rolled down my window. They said, "Can we help you?" And I said, "I'm not here to steal anything." because they were talking about all the crime in the neighborhood, which I get. And they said, "Yeah, there's nothing for sale on this street." I'm like, "Well, the government's got one for sale." It was
Did you
weird.
tell them that?
No, it wasn't worth it. It was like it would have entered. It would have turned into something, you know.
Yeah. No, you don't need friction like that.
No.
It was just enough for me to say, you know, I got enough other issues to deal with. I don't need that one. I don't think they're going to get it sold for 11,000, and it's a nice piece of property. The house is trashed. I mean, the wall's caving in, and he was, yeah, it was weird. Anyhow, so I just thought I'd share that as a follow-up story.
Okay, well, Clay, thanks for sharing it, Frank. I had thought about driving by that one myself, and after hearing your experience, I don't think I'm even going to do a drive-by.
Joe, are you
Yeah,
looking for any area? Any area in St. Louis, or what area?
So, you know, I live in Creve Coeur, and I would like it to be somewhere within, say, 20 minutes of where I live. I live off Ladue Road, and I live at Belmaison subdivision. So off Creve, I live right off Ladue Road and 270. So somewhere, you know, 20 minutes, within 20 minutes would be nice, but that's not easy. I know, because I've driven around, and I mean, it's expensive. It's just, well, if you found the right place, maybe it wouldn't be, but I'd potentially go, I'd certainly look at something further, put it that way.
So you're wanting a 2-car garage and maybe a home that could be rented out?
Yeah, see, I don't, you know, where we live, we can't have outbuildings, and our garage isn't big enough. I mean, it's a 2-car garage, but not big enough for some of the stuff that I have and what I'd like to do. And, you know, like an old car I'd like to work on, and some other things. And we can't have outbuildings. So otherwise I'd build one. And so if it was just a building and it was in the right spot and it wasn't a place that was going to be getting broken into all the time, that'd be fine. If it was a house that had a separate garage that was, you know, the right setting to where a tenant would be okay with, you know, sharing, even I'd even accept less rent for that. You know, I've seen those types of scenarios. Or, you know, I mean, the perfect setting for me would be something that's a farmhouse out of ways. I'd go further for that, that had a little building that's, or a bigger building, or a building I could build, you know, a space where I could build. But nothing's cheap, right? So.
And do you have like a price range?
No, not really, because the potential of the property would drive it. So in other words, if you know, if it was a house that I could fix up that would be worth something versus, you know, it would depend on the potential of the property over the longer term, because would consider it an investment that I could use in the meantime, and then when I'm done with it one day, you know, hopefully I improve it and the value goes up. It would be nice if I could get some income off of it if it was very expensive,
Right.
like a rental house,
Would
which
you,
I'm used to doing. So
would you be interested in renting just a 2-car garage at Overland across from the police station?
possibly, I've thought about renting, but I always think of that as, like most of us, throwing money away, but that's not necessarily the truth, because, you know, we all know a building a house or whatever can cost you more than renting. So yes, I would, especially since you said it's across the road from the police station.
It's right
that doesn't
across the
hurt.
street from the police
Even
station.
though I realize that doesn't stop people necessarily. So yeah, if you give me the address, I'd like to drive by. That's not far.
Well, let me talk to my son. It's his house, and his mother-in-law lives in it. So why don't you give me what's your phone number?
Let me put it in the chat here.
Yeah, send it over. And if they're interested in it, there's nothing in it. I mean, it's just there. This lady doesn't have a car and will not be driving.
Yeah, I'd be interested in looking at that. So I'm sending you my I'll put it in the chat here with a little description.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Oops.
yeah, garages are good to rent. I used to have a garage behind one of my 4 families in South City that I stored my extra supplies and stuff in there. And I got to look around what I had in there one day and I said, you know, I could probably rent this to one of my tenants in the 4 family, and I could probably, at the time, like, $25, $30 extra a month was a lot back in the 80s. And so I looked at the stuff I had in there. The stuff I had in there wasn't worth me paying $30 a month to keep it stored. So I sold some of it, threw the rest in the dumpster, and I rented a tenant that had a nice, a cute little sports car. And I approached him about it. He's, oh yeah, I'd like to get my car out of it. So I increased his rent and gave him the keys to the garage. So
I've got a positive story about the city. Would like to hear a positive story.
sure.
Yes.
I have a building down in South City, and I run the sewer line every couple of years because it's an older building. And when they ran the sewer line, it was blocked right at the curb. And so we sent the pictures over to the city, and because under their lateral program, they should take care of it. And they called back 3 days later and said, we're putting it out to bid and we're going to take care of it for you. That was amazing. I also have a situation in the city and another property where they have the water shut off going through the sidewalk, and it's been leaking for a couple of years. About 3 years ago, they agreed to fix the water shut off that it doesn't leak. And I'm just afraid if it freezes, someone could slip on the sidewalk. So they made me send them a check for $330. I have to replace the concrete pad, but they'll fix their leak. They haven't done anything in 3 years. So I've been on them and on them. So what they finally did, they came and they put 4 metal stakes in with a yellow thing around it so nobody trips. That's their fix.
It's fixed for now.
That's their fix for now, yeah. So
Yeah.
one positive.
Sounds like when I lived in U City which I love. And the sidewalk was all busted up outside of my house. And I said, can this be fixed? And they said, well, it was the part that goes from the sidewalk to the road. I said, can this be fixed? They said, no, but you can tear it out, but we won't replace it. So I tore it out and replaced it myself. All right.
Mhm. Yep, some of this, the sewer lateral and water lines programs are pretty good. Pretty good, can save you a lot of money. I've utilized
Yes.
two different times here in St. Charles. They got a sewer lateral in some older houses that I had that had to have that replaced.
I did it 2 times in Rock Hill, and the last one was that house. The charge was $44 or $500, and my cost was $400. Well worth it.
Mhm.
I mean, I know we're paying for it in our taxes, but
Yep.
that's a good program.
Yeah. Otherwise, a lot of people would be up a creek with that. They
Yeah,
had pay a bill like that. So.
a lot cheaper than a basement backup where you have to redo, especially if you have
Yeah.
a finished
Well, I
basement,
had
and you have to go redo everything.
one of them, I had a couple basement backups in, but several times, and that's before they finally kicked in. Because in St. Charles anyway, you have to have 2 clogs cleaned within 6 months or something. I forget what the guideline is before they'll consider it, okay, there must be something more serious. And so then you have to show them that, yeah, I paid for 2 sewer cleanouts in the last 6 months, show them the bills, and then they'll come out, run their camera down, and got it fixed. And the other one I didn't find until I had the property for sale, and they found something in the inspector ran a camera down, and they didn't like what they saw, and so he contacted the city there, and they took care of that too.
Well, if they said vacant, if a house says vacant, you guys know this, so I don't mean to preach to the choir, but if they're old, then tree roots will start to really grow down in there because there's no chemicals knocking them back, stunting the growth. And
Mhm.
then somebody gets in there after sitting for a while, and even toilet paper alone can block one up, and then you're screwed. Well, you're not screwed, but if you're backup, you've got a problem to fix, and that even before the clean out.
Mhm. Okay, I see you looking at the chat. I see Christopher was asking about anybody had any landlord insurance companies, I guess landlord friendly insurance companies. Amber had referred him to Farmers. Trying to think what we got. Jeremy Heiser, I think, is he a Farmers agent, John? I think he is. I think he is a Farmers agent. He's one of our.
Yeah, his info is should be on our website.
Should be on our website, yeah.
Mhm.
He's
Yep.
What do you mean by just normal insurance for liability insurance? Is that what you mean?
I'm not sure. I don't, Christopher, what is there something particular, or just looking for rental house or rental apartment insurance? Can you unmute yourself? There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear now. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm looking for the liability for rental insurance. Not rentals, but homeowners, landlord's insurance.
Mean on the building?
On the building, yes.
I use State Farm and they've been very good. And I also use Shelter. I use both of them.
Yeah, I use State Farm.
Mhm. Yeah, I personally have State Farm for all my properties. I try keeping insurance as I consider it a necessary evil. Try keeping it as simple as possible. And so, and they give me the discounts for having multiple policies. So I got all my policies with State Farm. So keeps things.
Same here.
And I recommend State Farm to my renters when they're to get their renters insurance. So if there's ever a claim there, they throw up there, they got to pay for it.
Do you make them sign off on their lease that says they have to have rental insurance? I do.
I do.
Joe is shaking his head. I have on there that I recommend they have renters insurance. I put it there that our coverage does not cover it, but I recommend it.
Mine says that
I
you
don't-
have to have rental insurance and you agree to get it. And that way there, if something happens and they don't have it, they can't come back.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've heard the other way around from somebody in the past that said, well, if you've got it in your lease that they have to have it, but you don't require them to send you a copy of, you're not a named whatever, named on the policy, or you don't follow up and verify that they've got it. It could be back in your court too then, because you didn't verify it.
Well, what
That's
I do-
dangerous.
Arguments both ways. What do you got?
Yeah,
Ian?
yeah, what I do, I have them to sign a waiver if they refuse to get insurance. Does anyone else do that?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't, but that's a good idea.
No,
Yeah, that way you're covered. Yeah.
no, that way you're covered. They've you know, they signed a waiver to saying, no, they're going to take their life, assume the liability themselves, and you got that in writing.
It figures the courts would side with the tenant and the situation, Lloyd, that you just
Yeah.
described.
Probably,
Like,
the way-
what are you supposed to do? Prove they're paying every month, you know? I mean, come on.
On the owner financing, we are an additional
Okay.
insured, and that way we get notices even though they're responsible for it. And I don't know, it's different with rentals. I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, people drop their insurance. They'll pay a month just to get it to satisfy. So yeah, waivers are good. You can also get the authorization to release information, which I recommend on anything, whether it's a renter or not. And that way you can go back and check at any time, but it is extra work. You know, and you shouldn't have to be a babysitter, but rentals are,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, they are. It's just one of them. So,
Owner finance makes sense. That's like when
yeah,
you drop, if your insurance lapse on your car, you get a letter from your lender, which makes sense, right? They don't want
Sure.
to be out.
yeah. Well, I do that. Yeah, I've got a loan on one property I've sold. I took my financing on, and yeah, I've got that on. I'm a named insured on that one. So if they cancel the policy, I'll get notice that it's not paid or it's
Yeah.
canceled.
Good idea.
But I'm not sure if they do. I'm not sure if they do that on rental policies. So good thing to check. When I'm scheduled for review with my new State Farm agent, I will ask them that if they will do that.
Well, I did something, I guess I'll have to admit it was probably really stupid. So don't you do what I did. Normally, when I rent a house, I give them the sewer company. No, I pay all the sewer bills and then add it on separate, but I give them the water company, electric, gas. And I had a tenant move in and I said, you know, change them over, and everybody's always done that. So I had only one eviction since I've been doing this in 14 years. And I just had it not too long ago. And so they move out and I set up the gas and electric in our company name, and I call the water company and they say, you owe 2 years of water bills.
Yeah.
They never changed over the water. And they've been sending the bill there rather than here. So we didn't know it.
Yeah, I've had problem with them sending the bill to the house address. They typically, no matter, even when you tell them, you give them the address that where you want to send the bill.
I owed $800 worth of water.
Wow.
Is what it came to.
Mhm.
So now I don't do it that way anymore.
How do you do it now?
Call the water company.
Yourself?
I give them 24 hours to change it over. And if not, I call the water company and say, take it off. Take it off of us.
Mhm. Then they'll hang a tag on the door that says we're shutting off the water in 2 days, and
Yeah.
if they don't call.
You learn the hard way, but it took me
Yeah.
14 years to learn that.
Hey, that's one of the good reasons to be a member of this organization. You find out that you can save a lot of the rest of us 14 years of pain.
Yeah.
We can learn a lot. I know I've learned a lot from other landlords before when I was getting into the business. So,
You learn every day in this business.
oh yeah, something new every day. There's new developments all the time.
See, Laurencia was asking about, has anyone purchased any real estate outside St. Louis to build, looking in areas in Alabama and Florida? Yeah, any area is good. Just, you know, you want to educate yourself on the area before you get into it. Sometimes there's reasons they're good deals, you know. Yeah, are you having anything in particular that you're wanting to know about? Or are you just asking in general or
In
what?
general, and to find out, you know, what tools do you use to actually really kind of analyze those. I am speaking with a realtor later this afternoon, and I have a really great friend that's in one of the areas. Because I'm doing research, but I'm not there. So I don't know if, you know, the research really match what the climate is there in Alabama, but you know, from everything that I've seen, it has a really high growth rate. And part of my strategy is really building some rental income, and they have a high rental rate. So that's kind of what I've done so far on my end, but just want to know, you know, like what tools are best to utilize to really kind of analyze some of that. You know, and just to really kind of get a good idea there.
Do you have properties in St. Louis now?
I do not.
I'd suggest you start here. Get your learning curve here rather than 700 miles away.
Okay.
Yeah, I would start somewhere close that you're familiar with, just like Mark said, instead of branching out, because it's okay to do that, but there's a lot of things you don't know if you can't just go up and talk to the people locally, you know, I mean, we were kind of talking earlier, you know, talk to the neighbors, talk to the people that are actually there, talk to tenants if you're looking to buy an existing rental. I mean, there's more research. I mean, because you can branch out, but a few years ago, I had a guy, some investors give me 9 houses. You probably heard me talk about this before here in the St. Louis area, because they were investors from out of town and they didn't know the area. The numbers all look good. Everything looks good until you actually get into it. And Mark's kind of talked about that earlier. Your learning is in the doing. That's when you find out everything you don't want to do the next time, you know, because it's invaluable. You know, a wise person learns from his mistakes, but a genius learns from the mistakes of others. When that's why you're here, don't do some of this kind of stuff, you know, and if you bring it out, there's nothing wrong with it. And you might, you know, it might be the best thing since, I don't know, since sliced bread, but if you don't know the area, most of us are better off if we start somewhere close to our house. Or are you in the same area right now?
I am. I'm in St. Charles County.
Okay.
And we moved here about 5 years ago. We owned a couple pieces of property in Kentucky. So just really kind of transitioning here to build a portfolio. I guess you just get kind of, I'm originally from St. Louis, so I guess you just kind of, you feel like it's kind of like, it's old news. Like, let's look at something, you know, let's look at, you know, somewhere different and see what's, you know, really out there that really has the potential. But again, that's really great. I really wholeheartedly take that feedback because it is part of my strategy. And just I logged in last week, so it was my first time, and you know, just really trying to learn and glean, you know, of the best way to, you know, to really enter and enter kind of a little bit with a bang, so to speak, you know, make the right decision, at least starting out, you know, and not losing a whole lot of money or putting a whole lot of money out, you know, where I'm kind of in a little bit of trouble with that. So just here to really learn, to glean. I've looked at St. Louis. I know that there are certain areas that are really, you know, good. Initially, when I started, I thought about wholesaling, but I think I lean more to the end buyer, you know, being able to really have an idea of what the property looks like, what I will be getting into. That's more my lane. And I feel most comfortable with that.
Well, you're in a good place right here. This is the place to ask your questions. Everybody comes from a good, you know, with a very helpful attitude for the most part. Yeah, if you're going to go out of town though, just make sure it's money you can lose in case something does go wrong. But I would also look at the other side of it to where it might cost you more money than what you might just lose, because you can't obligate yourself for something that's unforeseen. You know, just there's a lot more to it. But yeah, you may want to look closer to home. What part of Kentucky were you from? Just out of curiosity.
Frankfurt, the capital. It's
Frankfurt.
outside of Lexington and Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, we got relatives from Wickliffe and Paducah area, so a little bit different part of the state. I was just curious though. Okay, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. I must say that I've been tempted when I get some foreclosure list, or when we've been traveling, I'll look at I wonder if there's any foreclosures in this area and see what kind of real estate deals there are, and we'll drive by and say, oh yeah, this one looks great. I know one I drove about 50 miles out of our way to go by this one. I say, oh boy, was that a waste of 50 miles? But could have saved a lot of money from something I thought was a pretty good idea. That was, yeah, more than once that's happened. I understand why it's still been on the foreclosure market for so long and nobody's it up.
What tools do you all use to actually really analyze your deals, that, you know, you can really see what the cap rate is on, you know, a property, you know, after you pull the numbers? Like what does anybody have any resources as it relates to that?
I don't know. Anybody have any software tools or that they might recommend? No, I just work in my area. I'll just try to get all the expense information you can, and everybody's got different criteria what we're looking for. So if you're looking for a big cash flow, then you're going to make sure there's plenty of extra cash, and you got all the expenses covered.
Do you mostly purchase from realtors or wholesalers, or is it a combination?
Mine have been combination. My early acquisitions were through my first couple were with realtors, but since then I purchased one directly from the buyer, from somebody I knew. He kind of hooked up with me because he knew I had rental property, and he said, oh, that's a pretty good to get into. And he went and bought a rental property and said, hey, that's a good neighborhood. I remember him talking about the deal he got. But after about a year or two, he was kind of played out, had a few of the bad experiences that us landlords have occasionally. And he was ready to sell it. I said, hey, wait, no, don't listen. Let me go take a look. I like that neighborhood. It was an area that I was thinking about investing in myself. And so I went down, took a look at it, and we came on an offer, and that's probably been one of the better buys that I've gotten over the years.
The property,
Yeah, recently I bought one from a wholesaler too, but there's more wholesalers out and about now.
I bought properties. The gal that cuts our grass, I've asked her if she knows anybody in the neighborhood that might be ready to move into assisted living or whatever. And she gave me a lead, and I talked to the people, and I bought their house. Took about a year and a half to, till they were finally ready to move. The one on Wildwood that I just bought, it's a friend of my daughter's. They bought a new house and already moved into the new house, and we're trying to clean out this one, figuring out what to do. And I just made it simple for them. They didn't have to carpet it, paint it, do all the work, and they were very happy just to get rid of it. So I get to do that.
That's good. Yeah, you basically you get the word out that you're looking for a property, that everybody you know in your network of friends and family and everything, that you're looking for property, and you know.
I had a cat, you guys probably don't know this. I haven't been around for a while because unfortunately I came down with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is cancer. And I'm very fortunate. I'm in remission now. But I had a CAT scan this morning and I have had a card made and it says Mark buys houses with my phone number. I pay cash. And I gave out 3 cards this morning at the hospital to technicians and people, 1 in the waiting room and 2 to technicians. And then I went and had breakfast and I gave out 1 more there. So, I mean, you never know when you're going to get a call. Cards are cheap.
Yeah, I know. I've got a number of Mark's cards in my briefcase. He's always handing out cards. So.
And that's such a great point, Mark, because a lot of people miss that. They don't tell everybody they know. And you just got to let people know. And just, you know, because you want to be the problem solver. And sometimes it does take, what'd you say, a year and a half?
Year and a half.
Before you bought that property, but you're the one they'll go to because you're there talking to them, not trying to cram it down their throat like a lot of new wholesalers and people do. So
here's another, I'm sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it just makes all the difference. Go ahead. Yeah.
Here's another one. The gal that also cuts grass down in the city. And she gave me a lady, I rehabbed it, 4340 Miami. I sold it, bought it the beginning of last year. Took about 3 months to rehab it. I paid 50. I sold it for 170.
Wow.
But but I spent 70,000 on the rehab. Okay. But here's the point that I wanted to get out to you. So I made her an offer of 50,000 and she looked at me and I'm thinking, well, you know, maybe she thinks that's really low, and she took it. And just before we closed, she wanted to walk through it and see it, and she saw it and she said, you know, Mark, I thought you really overpaid, but I guess you didn't. But she said, the guys from those buy houses guys. Yeah. She said, well, when you offered me 50, I thought you were kind of crazy because they offered me 27. You know, they wanted to really scarf it real low. And I offered twice that much. But, you know, I'm doing another one too. I've got a 6-family on Victor in Benton Park that I'm doing. And I bought that about 2 years ago. And the gentleman that I bought it from, it was really cool. He took 1/2 of the building and built himself a penthouse, took the 1st and 2nd floor on one side and built himself a penthouse there. So I've rehabbed the rest of it. And that's the last unit. We're going to finish it up in a couple of weeks and put it on the market for about $2,500 a month. And I think we're going to rent it for that. But that's right. You know, if you know where Blue City Deli is, it's about 5 buildings up from Blue City Deli on Victor. And if you don't think that's a hot area, during the time I was working on that building, there were 7 dumpsters on that one block of other people rehabbing.
A lot of rehabbing going on. Yeah.
A lot of it going on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a good sign. Okay. Anybody else got anything you want to share this morning or bring to the table?
So what would you do if you're me? I don't know anything about construction. So I can't know on a walkthrough. I mean, I know when, you know, it doesn't really look so great, but I don't know what's involved with, you know, I don't know what's going on, right? So then I'm not going to make an offer. My approach is to listen to the seller and understand what the seller wants. Like they may need X amount of cash for what they're doing next. You know, maybe they're going into assisted living. They've got to have some money to do that, even on the front end, not even if they're going to pay monthly going forward. You know, they have to get, you know, the down payment, or they have to put some money up front. So they need some cash. And then what is it that they want for their house, their property? And maybe they want a lump sum. And if, you know, so, and I can put together a contract that says, you know, subject to a walkthrough or inspection or something, right? And then I guess I need to build relationships with contractors, with people who know what they're doing, who would want to work with me, where they're going to, you know, I'm going to either pay them to come in and do the work, or, you know, or they can share with me, you know, in other words, I would get the contract and then I would pay them from some proceeds of that contract.
Yeah, yeah, you need to build a relationship with a contractor too. First, and you know, you said you can put that in your first contract if you don't want to wait to have a contractor come through just looking. And probably contractor would probably be leery of just going to look at properties with you, something you're interested in, you don't have under contract. But if you already got it under contract and you want to use a contractor for an inspection, to have them put together a bid to make that contingent part of the contingency on your.
Here's Mark's suggestion.
Yeah.
Some of you know Sandra Holtmeyer. She's pretty successful today. I'll tell you how Sandra got started. We partnered on the first 2 deals and she learned from me how to do it. Okay. And she learned how to rehab and how to find the contractors and that. And then she didn't need me anymore and she does it on her own. She's done quite well. But my suggestion is partner with somebody that knows what they're doing to get started, learn from them. And don't be greedy.
No, I'm not. I'm no, I much like to learn, and also I'll put the work in, you know. So no, I'm not greedy at all. Really. So no intention.
Okay, yeah, that's a good, well, that's one of the things you mentioned. Maybe you can partner with a contractor. So if you find a contractor that's willing to work with you and might share part of the deal, might be attractive to somebody. I don't know if you could advertise for that on Facebook or something. Look for contractors on Facebook. No,
be careful. You could get so screwed. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. You got to deal with somebody that knows the contractor. I mean, good contractors. I mean, it's a bear today to get a good contractor.
I know, don't need to.
All so busy and the prices are so high.
Yeah. I just finally secured one that in the last month, during the 12 weeks that while my cabinets were on order. And just in the last few weeks, I've interviewed a lot of them, and one of them finally gave me a commitment to start next week.
Yeah, your local REIA, Laurel, would probably be a good source for you out there. Like Mark says, you want to partner with somebody that's done it, that's done what you want to do. So, you know, that's how you'll learn a lot. But the first thing is just get you a contract, and, you know, and then you'll learn. All the learning is in the doing, but as long as you have the clauses where you can walk away, not that you want to, but you got to go out and get a deal first, because contractors in particular, they're not going to go around with you.
Right.
And I would be extremely cautious about finding, just like you said, anybody online, because I'd say, you know, I don't know if most of them are scams, but I would say most of them are scams, you know, or somebody just trying to take advantage of us. So just be cautious on that.
I would say
You know,
any contractor that has time available right now, there's a reason they have time available right now.
Yeah, if they're any good, you're absolutely right, because good contractors are busy. Even Demetrius this morning working on that tiny house that he just showed us, he is a busy guy. He tuned in just to talk to us for a few minutes, but anybody that's any good with anything, they're busy. I mean, we had, you know, we're building a place, you know, I mentioned this, and, you know, it's taken months to get some of these people even to show up, you know, because they are so busy. And the septic guy the other day, he was several hours late. And this is after months of trying to get him to come out there to even give us a bid. So, I mean, getting on the schedule is another story too, but, you know, just be cautious about who you deal with, because everybody is not your friend, especially in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And talk about learning about rehabbing. I don't know if you ever heard of Robin Thompson. She's considered the queen of rehab. We've had her speak at our events a couple of times. She used to do, I'm not sure if she still is, might to Google her and look at her website, probably robinthompson.com, that she used to do boot camps. Where she lives down, it was in her home territory, which is in Florida, north of Orlando. So, but if you did want to learn to do it yourself, learn how to make estimate what the scope of a project house when you're just by walking through it. That'd be a good boot camp to go through with Robin Thompson.
Thank you.
Is that the person that was here, Lloyd, a couple of years ago?
We've had her 2 times, different times in the past. Yep. In fact, that's if you've been to one of our regular meetings, David Randolph here in St. Louis, he is her St. Louis star student. He's been through her boot camp, I don't know how many times. I think you get a special deal. Once you've gone through a boot camp, you can come back and revisit for a really cheap price. And he's been like three different times he's gone through a boot camp. And he does exactly, follows exactly her method. He uses her recommendations for materials and everything too. She's got a SKU list from Lowe's that she uses for all of her rehabs. So anybody across the country can buy the same supplies that she does to do her rehab. So, and then she shares that with her students too. But,
And her name is Robin Thompson?
Robin Thompson. Yep.
She have a website that you know of, or?
I got one.
Google it.
Yeah, you can probably just Google Robin Thompson and you'll find, I believe it's robinthompson.com. I know I've got a bookmark
Okay.
for her on my on one of my bookmarks for her work for her boot camps. Yeah, we had a number of our members have gone down. I know Pat Heiser went down there, and Jim Heiser, our past president's wife, went down with another member several years ago. Really got a lot out of it.
I'm going to sign off, guys. Thanks for.
Okay, Mark. Hey, wish you the best. I'm glad you're back with the rest of us now, and hope to see you again here.
Sounds good. Take care.
Okay, you take care.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is 12 o'clock. I don't know if everybody else ready to wrap up here, unless you got something else. Now I'm ready for lunch. I was up early this morning, so.
Got a lot of good takeaways.
Yeah, we did.
He was sharing his house and experience in Paysdale. And yeah, Mark's still looking to buy something. He just left us a lot of good tips. I mean, this is always good to come in here because we can find out a lot. What else? Joe's still looking for a place for his cars within 20 minutes of Creve Coeur. So keep that in mind. He also says the market's changing a little bit. I've kind of noticed more activity myself, but that's I don't really have a lot for sale right now other than our little properties. Let's see. And then Laurencia, she's going to do a little bit more research, I think, on her out of town ventures here. All good stuff though. And so and Laurel's had a couple questions about some contractors. The biggest thing is just stay educated. And this is a great place to learn though, and network with people. And it's always a good place to bring your questions or anything you're working on. If you got anything for sale or just want to talk to people, and I got a friend of one of my groups who's big into Mary Kay, and they have meetings like every week too, and she's also a educator for continuing education for nurses out in Ohio. And she does a lot of stuff with like 12-step programs and stuff. And this is the way I kind of look at this too, is this is my real estate therapy, because sometimes if things aren't going well, you need to come in and see what everybody else is doing to kind of get you back on track. And when things are going well, everybody else needs you. So come here and talk to us about what's going well for you. So, I just appreciate everybody coming in, and we'll just keep this going as long as we can. And we still wish the best to Kathy Davis and her husband. And they've got a lot going on, but and as soon as she's able to, she'll come back and we'll have asked the attorney. You know, she's very gracious, but this is the third year now. We're coming up on our 3 full years here soon. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, and just watch your emails, and also put on your calendar, what was it, the 21st of February, we
Right.
have Peter Hoffman coming in for the vacant properties in St. Louis. So there's over 25,000 vacant properties right now, and there's a lot of opportunities. So we'll look forward to seeing you all soon. If nothing else, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, John.
John, can I
Thank
ask
you.
a quick question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
John, is there a sample letter or something that you can share with us? And I'm from Florida, so I'm not there in that area. There again, chiming in from last week. I'm that newbie still asking questions. That maybe if we find property out there that we want to contact the seller or the property that we're interested in, is there some kind of sample letter or document or something we can send out to them?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be happy to send you a thing. I've got a mini workshop we did last year. If you want to just send me a request, go to linktojohn.com. That's LINK 2JOHN.com. And on the bottom, there's a tab says contact me. Just send me that. Just send me a note, Lynn, and I'll be happy to send you a couple things.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all you guys in the group and the input.
Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate you
Yeah,
very much.
I was just going to ditto what John said about DNR therapy. I say I probably wouldn't, if it hadn't been for this group, I probably wouldn't be invested in real estate anymore. With all the naysayers and bad things you hear about landlords and real estate investors, I probably would have given it up long ago. But that's why there's so much negativity in the workplace. And I worked at McDonnell Douglas and Boeing for over 30 years, and I was got to be known as the slum landlord in some of my coworkers, even though they had never been to any of my knew that how well I took care of them. But I usually had a comeback was that I'm providing housing for 10 otherwise homeless families in the city of St. Louis. What are you doing for the homeless population? That was a really good comeback. It took me a while to come up with that, but that was my comeback for that. And I kind of quit getting those remarks after that. Anyway.
Well,
We'll see
good
you
luck.
next week.
Yes, best wishes, Lloyd, for all of your activities in the
Oh,
kitchen there.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
I think dust is going to start flying here this week.
yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.